Hello students, today we start with chapter number 3, the last chapter of the first unit. The weightage of this chapter for the board examination is about 9 marks at present, and that of the first and second chapter about 7 marks and 8 marks respectively. That is, the total weightage of the entire unit is 24 marks. Chapter 3, Current Electricity. Introduction. 3.1 Introduction. In the first chapter, we had studied a branch of electricity called static electricity, where the electric charges were considered to be stationary and ARY, that is at rest. Here, in this branch of current electricity, charges are set in motion by providing energy to them. Next point. Here charges in motion constitute an electric current. Charges in motion. Natural example, lightning. Lightning is one such phenomenon in which charges flow from the clouds to the earth through the atmosphere, causing mishaps nowadays, sometimes with disastrous results. It is for a very short duration, resulting into transient currents. The flow of charges in lightning is not steady. In the case of steady electric currents, examples are water flowing smoothly in a river, a torch, cell-driven clock, and transistor radio. You can note it down besides this, not given here, and transistor radio. Next topic, electric current. To understand the concept of electric current, we imagine a small area held normal to the direction of flow of charges. In a given time interval t, let Q plus be the net amount. Net amount means what? That is forward minus backward direction. Current can flow in the forward direction as well as backward direction, but we will consider only forward direction, hence the word net amount is used. So let Q plus be the net amount of positive charge that flows in the forward direction, and similarly Q minus be the net amount of negative charge flowing in the forward direction. Then the net amount of charge in time interval t will be equal to Q plus minus Q minus. So we have the result capital I equal to small q upon small t. The equation has been tick marked, equation number 3.1. Here we can see it. Now from this equation, the electric current can be defined to be the current across the area in the forward direction. If it turns out to be a negative number, then we can say that the current is in the backward direction. Now from the above equation, I equal to Q upon T, we define electric current as, you note it down in your notebook. Here it's not given, I dictate you. It is defined as the amount of charge flowing per unit time across any cross-sectional area, that is CSA, of a conductor held perpendicular to the direction of flow of charge, held perpendicular to the direction of flow of charge. Perpendicular word is important. Next point, as currents are not always steady, let delta Q be the net charge flowing across cross section of a conductor during time interval delta t. Then we have the equation I is a function of t, capital I of small t, equal to limit as delta t tends to 0, delta q upon delta t, which is equal to dq by dt. You can directly write as it. If you don't write t, means I is a function of t. Then also it would do I equal to dq by dt. Then limit delta t need not be written, and it will be converted into dq upon dt, that is in the differential form. This equation is known as the equation for instantaneous current. If you take simply I equal to, that is average I symbol, equal to delta q upon delta t, it will be the equation for average current. But generally we refer current means it is understood as instantaneous current at time t, which is equal to dq by dt. Equation 3.2, which has been tick marked. The SI unit of current is ampere, denoted by capital A, which has been written above, ampere word, and its derived form is equal to coulomb per second, that is capital A equal to capital C upon small s. If you are asked the derived unit of electric current, you have to write capital C upon small s, that is coulomb per second. Its equivalent form is ampere, denoted by capital A. Just a minute. Next point. Now, this description of current, that is coulomb per second, is not given here, which I tell you to note it down, and I speak out slowly. What is the meaning of coulomb per second? If 1 coulomb per second ampere current is flowing through any conductor, that is I coulomb electric charge is flowing through every cross sectional area of the conductor per second. If we consider I coulomb electric charge flowing per second, this is the physical significance of coulomb per second. It means that I coulomb electric charge is flowing through every cross sectional area of the conductor per second, then the amount of electric charge entering any cross-sectional area of the conductor in a given time interval is equal to the same amount of electric charge leaving LEAVING any other cross-sectional area in the same time interval. As a result, electric charge is never accumulated. Accumulated means to gather at one place. Electric charge is never accumulated at any point in the conductor. That is, charge is neither created nor destroyed at any point in the conductor. This means that electric charge is conserved. Conventionally, that is traditionally, the direction of motion of positive charges is taken as the direction of electric current and it is called conventional current. In conductors, the current is due to the motion of negatively charged electrons, so the direction of current is opposite to the electron current. Next topic, electric currents in conductors. An electric charge will experience a force if an electric field is applied. If it is free to move, it will contribute to a current. In metals, some of the electrons are free to move within the bulk material. These materials generally are called conductors, which develop electric currents in them when electric field is applied. In case of solid conductors, solid conductors, the atoms are tightly bound to each other so that the current is carried by the negative charge electrons. In electrolytic solutions, the current is due to positive and negative charges both. Now, in the case of solid conductors, the current is carried by the negatively charged electrons in the background of fixed positive ions. Now, next point. Just a minute. So, in the case of solid conductors, the current is carried by the negatively charged electrons in the background of fixed positive ions. We consider an example to understand this. There are two different cases which we consider. First, without electric field, and then with the electric field. When electric field is applied. Consider first the case when no electric field is present. The electrons will be moving due to thermal motion. Thermal motion word is important. During which they collide with the positive fixed ions. Positive has been written besides. Hence, the direction of its velocity after the collision is completely random. Random means zigzag, haphazard. That is, averagely, just a minute, averagely number of electrons traveling in any direction will be equal to the number of electrons traveling in the opposite direction. So there will be no electric current, no net electric current. Now let us see what happens to such a piece of conductor if an electric field is applied. For this, we imagine the conductor in the shape of a cylinder of radius capital R, figure drawn besides, that is 3.1. of radius capital R. Suppose we take two thin circular discs of dielectric of same radius and put positive charge plus Q distributed over one disc and minus Q at the other disc. Then an electric field will be created and its direction will be from positive towards the negative charge. The electrons will be accelerated due to this field towards plus Q and thus move to neutralize the charges. Neutralize word is important. Hence, there will be a current for a very short time. While means time, for a very short time, and thereafter no current. Now we consider another case in which the ends of the cylinder are supplied with fresh charges which has been underlined to make up for any charges neutralized by electrons moving inside the conductor. Here there will be a steady electric field resulting into a continuous current rather than current for a short period of time as seen previously. Hence, example of to maintain steady electric field are cells or batteries. Now we study the concept of drift velocity of an electron in a solid conductor, that is say metals, with the help of this figure. This is not given in the description, so you can note it down, which I will be speaking slowly, and you can understand this diagram side by side. In the constitution of metallic conductors, the electrons in the outer shells are less bound with the nucleus due to thermal energy at room temperature. Such valence electrons are liberated from the atom, leaving behind positively charged ions. These ions are arranged in a regular geometric arrangement, that is definite geometric pattern on the lattice points. The electrons liberated from the atom are called free electrons, and ions are oscillating only about their mean positions, Electrons are free to move about the positive ions in the entire crystal. That is, motion of an electron is not restricted about a particular positive ion only. Hence, in this sense also, they are known as free electrons. Now, there are two cases: in the absence of electric field and in the presence of electric field. First, we see in the absence of electric field, free electrons in a solid conductor move like the molecules in a gas. That is, they collide with the ions, and after the collision their velocities are completely random, shown by continuous line AB in the figure. This is the continuous line AB, which is shown by red color line. You can see this AB, red color line. Shown by continuous line AB, red color line in the figure. Now, in the presence of electric field, that is capital E, when electric field is applied across the conductor by connecting a battery, as shown in the figure. Battery is connected positive to the positive terminal to the right hand side of the conductor. Then the path of the electron will become AB dash, as shown by dotted line, of blue color in the figure. Why the path will become AB dash? Because the electron will be experiencing an electric force given by capital F vector equal to capital E vector into small e, that is small e, the charge of electron. Hence, the path of the electron gets deviated slightly, shown by AB dash in the figure. This is AB dash of blue color dotted line. And this is because of the electron executing the motion under the oscillatory electric field of the ions. Oscillatory electric field of the ions constantly gets scattered from its path, that is slightly deviated from its path, and this gives rise to the resistance in a conductor. And acceleration of the electron is given by small a equal to capital E into small e upon small m, a equal to E upon m, which is in the direction opposite to the electric field, and this acceleration of the electron is momentary. That is, the electrons are scattered. As a result, the electrons are dragged in the direction, dragged word is important, D-R-A-G-G-E-D. The electrons are dragged in the direction opposite to the electric field. Thus the electron travels from A to B dash, and the effective displacement of the electron is equal to B dash, is equal to B dash in the figure, in the presence of electric field, and the velocity of electron corresponding to this effective displacement B dash is known as the drift velocity, denoted by small v, d below, that is Vd, known as the drift velocity of an electron. So this concept of drift velocity is over, and now we deal with the next topic, that is Ohm's law. Just a minute. Ohm's law. To understand Ohm's law, imagine a conductor through which current I is flowing and V be the potential difference between the ends of the conductor. Then Ohm's law states that V proportional to I, V is directly proportional to I, implies V equal to capital R I, where R equal to proportionality constant known as resistance of the conductor. Now I dictate you the statement of Ohm's law, not given here. You note it down. Write the statement in inverted commas. Under a definite physical condition, this is essential. Example, constant temperature can be written in bracket. The current capital I flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference capital V applied across its ends. And this statement is called Ohm's law. That is, we can say that the ratio V upon I is always a constant quantity which is termed as resistance capital R. In the other sense, resistance is termed as opposition to the flow of electric current. Here V upon I equal to constant equal to R, which has been written besides another form of Ohm's law, which is always a constant quantity, that is the ratio of the potential difference across the two ends of the conductor to the electric current flowing through the conductor is always constant, and this constant is termed as resistance of the conductor. Hence we have defined resistance on the basis of Ohm's law. The SI unit of resistance is ohm, symbolized as ohm, which is written above, and its derived unit, that is the equivalent form of ohm, equal to volt upon ampere, that is capital V upon capital A. If derived unit is asked, you have to write capital V upon capital A. The value of R depends on the material of the conductor and also on the dimensions of the conductor. Two factors the value of R depends upon. Number one, material, and number two, dimensions of the conductor. Now this can be, how it depends on dimensions can be understood with the help of the following example, for which we consider three different cases. of three figures given besides. Here are the figures A, B and C. Here in the first figure, the conductor is taken of length L, two identical conductors each of length L and having cross sectional area capital A, length denoted by small l. In the second figure, A figure, one slab is there, capital L is the length of the slab, that which is the conductor, and capital A is the cross sectional area. In the B part, two identical slabs placed together each of length L, capital A cross sectional area, and in the last figure C, one slab placed over the other slab, that is the slab is cut lengthwise from the middle of the cross sectional area, each area of each slab being A by 2 and A by 2 respectively. Now we see the description. Consider a conductor in the form of a slab of length L and cross sectional area capital A as shown in figure A given besides, which I have already described earlier. Imagine placing two such identical slabs side by side as shown in figure B, so that the length of the combination is 2L length, that is total length. Now the same current, so we have seen all the figures. Now the same current capital I flows through both, that is the potential difference across the ends of the combination is equal to 2V. Hence the resistance of the combination RC equal to 2V upon I. Now as V upon I equal to R, so this RC equal to 2R, which has been tick marked. This is the case when length L changes to 2L, that is we are doubling the length of the slab, that is thus doubling the length of a conductor also doubles the resistance. In general, R is proportional to L, equation 3.5, which has been tick marked. Now in the other case, that is the last case, figure C, imagine dividing the slab into two by cutting it lengthwise, so that the length of two identical slabs is L and each having cross sectional area of A by 2. Then the current flowing through each of the two half slabs will be I by 2, and the potential difference across the ends of the half slabs will be V, that is the same across the full slab, same potential difference V across the full slab, and current will be I by 2. Hence the resistance of each half slab, that is R1, will be equal to V upon I by 2. 2 goes in the numerator, which is equal to 2 into V upon I equal to R, so equal to 2R. This is the case when cross sectional area capital A changes to A by 2, that is half the cross sectional area, half of the original. Means here we see that having the area of the cross section of a conductor also doubles the resistance Hence R is proportional to 1 upon A, that is inversely proportional to the cross sectional area. R proportional to 1 upon A, and now combining the above equation 3.5, that is this one R is proportional to L and R is proportional to L. Equation 3.5 which has been tick marked, and again equation 3.7 R proportional to 1 upon A. On combining both of these equations, that is 3.5 and 3.7, we have R is proportional to L upon A. Hence, for a given conductor, if we remove proportionality sign, R will be equal to rho L upon A, where constant of proportionality rho is known as resistivity, which has been tick marked. Rho is called resistivity. You can write down its definition, which is not given here. Note it down. Resistivity is also known as specific resistance. It is defined as the resistance of unit length and unit cross sectional area Its SI unit is ohm into meter, ohm meter written above in bracket. Rho depends on the material of the conductor and not on its dimensions. It does not depend on its dimensions, as we have seen in the definition, that is, it depends unit length and unit cross sectional area. Therefore, it is also called specific resistance. Hence, it does not depend on its dimension. Rho does not depend on its dimensions. Now, next point. Rho changes, this also you can note it down, not given here. Rho changes with higher pressure due to changes in composition of crystals. Again I repeat, Rho depends on the material of the conductor, then temperature and pressure. Again, those two factors it depends upon, temperature and pressure existing on conductor. Rho changes with higher pressure due to changes in composition of crystals. Now, as per Ohm's law, we have V equal to IR, which is equal to, substituting the value of R from above, that is rho L upon A, we get this is equal to I rho L upon A. Now for I upon A, we substitute J, which is a new term called current density. Now how we define current density? Current density is defined as current per unit area, taken normal to the current. Is important. Hence I upon A is called current density, denoted by small j. Or instead of current per unit area, you can write amount of charge flowing per unit time. For current, you can use the word amount of charge flowing per unit time, then again per unit area, taken normal to the current. SI unit of current density ampere upon meter square, capital A upon small m square. Now if E is the magnitude of uniform electric field in the conductor whose length is L, small l, then potential difference PD, that is denoted by capital V, across its ends will be equal to capital V equal to capital E into small l, that is V equal to EL. Now equating the two equations, one is V equal to EL and the other is of Ohm's law, that is equation 3.10. We get, equating those two equations, we get EL equal to J rho into L. LL cancels from both the sides, therefore E equal to J rho. Now as the current density J, which is also a vector quantity, and as the direction of J points along the direction of capital E vector, that is the electric field, the above equation 3.11 can be written in vector form as vector E capital equal to J vector small into rho, E equal to J rho. Vector E equal to J vector rho. Equation 3.12 implies J vector equal to sigma E vector, which has been tick marked. Because why this equation we get, that is 3.13, because J equal to vector J equal to vector E upon rho, and as 1 upon rho equal to sigma, which is called the conductivity of the material, that is the reciprocal of resistivity. 1 upon rho equal to sigma, rho equal to resistivity and sigma equal to conductivity. The reciprocal of resistivity is called conductivity, denoted by sigma, whose unit is mho meter inverse. Written above, conductivity has been tick marked. Written above is the unit of conductivity, not given here, which I have written mho meter raised to -1, or it can, that is the reverse symbol of ohm, that is mho, called mho small m raised to -1, or capital S small m raised to -1, which is the another SI unit known as Siemens meter inverse. Siemens meter inverse. Siemens after the name of the scientist, SIEMEN, Siemens meter inverse. Or still it can be written as ohm meter whole raised to -1. Again I repeat, or ohm symbol small m bracket over whole raised to -1. Again I repeat, in bracket ohm symbol small m whole bracket over whole raised to -1. As we note that the unit of resistance is ohm and the reciprocal of resistance capital R, that is equal to 1 upon R, is called conductance. The reciprocal of resistance is called conductance, which has not been given here, and it is symbolized as capital C equal to 1 upon R equal to 1 upon ohm symbol equal to mho, reverse symbol of ohm, which is termed as mho, MHO. Hence here in the unit of conductivity it becomes mho meter raised to minus 1. Hence the above equation, that is 3.13, is known as equivalent form of Ohm's law. Okay, we stop as this topic ends here.